All right. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Elise. I work for an organization called 18 Reasons, and I am here in replacement of my colleague Roberto, who you've probably all worked with at least the first couple of weeks before we all had to shelter in place and we could no longer have in-person classes. So we're here. I'm here talking about nutrition because nutrition is so important, especially now when we're all at home. There are very few things that we can control in this world right now, which can be stressful and weird. But something that you have total control over is how you put food into your body and what choices you make, what food you're eating, and how you can let that affect your well-being, the way you think, the way you feel, and the amount of energy that you have. Now, Miss Ray has done a fantastic job of walking you through the MyPlate, the USDA MyPlate, which we have here. As you guys have already know, you have half your plate is supposed to be fruits and vegetables. So it doesn't have to look exactly like this. The goal is just to have half of your plate be filled with fruits and veggies. You guys just learned about whole grains. Whole grains keep you full. Whole grains are chocked full of nutrients. They can be a little bit more expensive, but because they make you feel fuller for longer, you're actually getting more out of your money because you're getting those nutrients. You're getting filled up and you feel good and healthier. Whole grains, surprise, also have protein, which we are talking about today. So if you see in this little corner here is our protein corner. It's small, but it's mighty, and we're gonna dive into what this really means. All right, so protein, I'm sure all y'all are thinking, if anyone asks you what protein is, the first thing that comes to mind is beef, chicken, fish. Yeah, anything that's very, very meat-based is protein, which is not wrong because your muscle is also made out of protein. So when you eat other animals' muscle, you're eating protein. That's true. But today we're going to talk about what protein really is, where you can get it, and how much of it you should be eating. So protein is essentially science. Protein is the building block to all of life, which may seem extreme, but it's absolutely true. So you'll learn about this more as you take more biology, but a protein strand is essentially this bundled up little thing right here. Now, when you start digesting it, when you start breaking it apart, it starts loosening up from a bundle into a strip like this, and it's kind of a loose strip and it'll go wherever it wants. Sometimes it'll bind to another protein strip to make a giant protein, sometimes it won't. But as you digest, digestion is the process of breaking things down. While you digest, you will break this strand down into something called amino acids. And amino acids are what you see here. Like this would be one, this is one, this is one, this is one, this is one. It's this unique set of random molecules that come together to create a protein chain. They bind together to create a protein chain. So when you say protein, you're really talking about this whole chain, but instead of the whole chain, we're actually saying that you need these specific amino acids to maintain your body. So when you digest, this guy pops off like this, and this amino acid will go and do its job wherever it needs to. So your amino acids will not only help you rebuild muscle, they'll also help regulate your digestion, increase your metabolism, make you feel fuller longer. They help guide your DNA and how your DNA replicates and helps your body heal itself. It helps trigger the way that your brain thinks and your neuron connections. And so each amino acid is super, super, super important. And there are 13 of them that are called essential amino acids that we cannot make in our own bodies. That's why we have to eat them. And that's why, because they're essential, because we cannot make them, they've added this protein section to the MyPlate poster, saying that you need to eat something that has protein in it so that you can get all 13 of those amino acids. So here's our protein, here's our little amino acid that broke off. It's a little bit confusing, but will start to make more sense once you learn a little bit more about what things do in your body. So the protein strand, amino acid, main things to remember, amino acids are the building blocks of life. Everything has amino acids in it. Now, when we talk about the amino acids and the protein that you eat, the reason that we think about meat as being like our main source of protein is because it is protein. It is a full strand of essential amino acids, because they've created built this foundation that's so strong, and that's what its sole purpose is. So eating like this type of meat, you also got ground turkey, which is supposed to be a lean version. Even fish, like canned tuna, has a bunch of amino acids in it. And it's one of the most efficient ways you can get protein because it has all of those, it has quite a few of those essential amino acids in it anyway. However, maybe you don't eat meat, maybe meat just isn't in your household, or you just don't prefer to eat it, that's okay too. Because you can also get amino acids from plants. All plants will have amino acids. A great source of those amino acids and therefore protein is beans. Beans have a bunch of different amino acids in it, which is really great because beans, also if you notice down here, are super cheap. They're very, very affordable to get quite a large portion of it. Like if you buy a can of beans, it's usually at least 2 to 3 portions for $1, which is a really, really good deal. Plus, when you lean more towards plant-based protein like beans or whole grains, even contain quite a lot of amino acids. It's cheaper, but also you're loading up your body with fiber, which helps regulate your digestion, helps you poop, which is super important too. You don't have any saturated fat in that, plus a whole array of other essential nutrients, vitamins, and minerals, which also help your body function, help your body feel good. So when you can, try to lean more towards those plant-based proteins if you can. Something to remember too is that if you eat beans coupled with a bowl of rice, it's called a complete protein. And now if you remember, we talked quickly about that there are 13 essential amino acids. If you have black beans or any kind of bean really with some kind of grain, those two will come together and will complete the 13 amino acids that you need. So when you eat those together, you've really reached your protein requirement for the day, because you have all of those amino acids. When you eat meat by itself, it usually will have 8 to 10 of those amino acids, so you're still missing a couple of them, but you still get quite a few when you eat from get protein from a meat source. Now protein is very popular in our diet, but we actually don't need as much of it as we think that we do. Generally speaking, men and women, depending on how active you are, only need about 50 to 80 grams of protein every day, which kind of seems like a lot, of protein. But when you think about serving sizes and how much we're really eating, one little serving of meat, like if you're eating a chicken or beef, or even tofu, or any kind of meat, protein food, this amount that's in your palm right here, this is about 7 to 10 grams of protein, which isn't that much food in general. Like if you do a little cup of your hand, it's not that much food, but we're used to loading up our plates with a giant steak, a giant burger, throw in protein powder in all of our drinks just to get that extra protein. But you really don't need it. You don't need to focus on loading up on a bunch of protein because it's in quite a few food sources as well. Amino acids are everywhere. Going back to how protein makes you feel full longer, if we're thinking about this chain here and how your digestion works by breaking up this chain, protein takes a longer time to digest because it's more complex.